It's a very good day. I don't want to say whether it is morning or in the evening, but just remember this is the legal mind where politics of the day meets the law. We are discussing the consequential and the consensual adolescence case that was after a landmark judgment by Martin Mwamuye, the judge himself from the High Court, saying that, my friends, don't criminalize Section 8, 9, 11 of Sexual Offense Act against these young children below 18. And he was saying there is no need we interfere or infringe their right in Article 53 of the Constitution, Section 2. Leo niko na Faiza, nafikiri umeshamwona wakili kutoka shirika la kutetea haki za kibinadamu ya Kenya hapa, na niko na mwanahabari ngulu anaitwa Jasmine Atieno. She writes with the Standard. We are just going to discuss the whole package of this case. This case also marries the case of Judge Said Juma Chitembwe about Martin Charo, if you remember that case of a 24-year-old man who was acquitted after, can I say it was alleged or not? I don't know what to put, but after defiling a 13-year-old lady. So these two cases have brought a lot of attention in the country. Everybody thinking all they want to think. Everybody want to say, oh, and remember during the judgment in 2016 of Judge Chitembwe, even some international bodies voted as the worst ruling ever. But Chitembwe remained and said that that judgment was the best. And if by any chance he had another opportunity to make that judgment, he will still do. So we want to explain to Kenyans that why should such judgment occur and what is the nitty-gritties in this judgment. More so, this of late Justice Mwamuye. Wakili, nianze na wewe. Karibu sana kwanza. Tell me, how have you been? I'm sorry, ilikuwa abrupt.
Thanks, David. I'm
Yes.
doing great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nyumbani iko salama?
Kabisa, nashukuru.
Mombasa iko salama?
Yeah, joto tu.
Ni joto maandamano ya fuel?
I still not much to say, but we are monitoring the situation.
I thought you could be a Luo. You say no problem because fuel is not a problem.
No, as an institution, we are monitoring it.
Karibu sana.
Yeah.
Jasmine, for the first time, welcome. Wakili is not a residential guest. How have you been?
I've been okay. Thank God, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Hauna mtu wa kutumia salamu? Wale waliosema utaenda mbali waambie hapa ni wapi, sema box imekuja haijakuja.
Kweli.
Yes.
Mwalimu wa maths.
Amini. Siku hizi unajua
Amini,
kizungu. Karibu sana. I think we just want to put a picture, but let me start with you as a journalist. When you heard of this case of Chitembwe back in 2016, and then this case of Justice Mwamuye on 5th of May 2026, what came to your mind as a journalist?
As a journalist and as a gender reporter,
yes,
you know,
and award-winning gender reporter. Yes.
Okay, now the pressure has increased. So,
Yes.
Okay, so I even reported about you know the
Absolutely,
ruling,
yeah.
but I tried, even when I was sharing this story, when I was sharing the story that I did on my LinkedIn, I made it very clear that my emotional perspective was not captured in this story. I tried to be as
objective
as possible.
Yes.
But the ruling comes with a lot of worries also. I'm also a parent.
Yeah.
So there's a way we are still looking at it as, it's trying to protect the boy child, but where does this really leave us, as a country? Where are we? After when we are looking at, access to SRHR services for young people, how are we doing as a country? When you're looking at teenage pregnancies, when you're looking at teenage pregnancies, you're not really looking at the boy child. You're looking at the girl child. And the effects of teenage pregnancies, them dealing with the triple threats, which is also like the infections and everything. So where are we as a country accessing to health rights, sexual health rights, health rights services? And how is this going to affect the situation on the ground currently? Is this going to, is this going to make things better, or this is going to make things worse? Because now this leaves us with we need to do more. There's need for more footwork. Because we need to now start creating more awareness among young people. And I'm also, let me just speak for someone that has experienced this situation firsthand. I have a god sibling. By god sibling, I mean like the father of this young girl was my godfather. You understand, yeah? So basically, this young girl got pregnant at 15 years. And I saw how stressful, because the mother was late. So the father had to carry all this stress of, your child being, he had to deal with it. But of course, he was very angry about it. And, the boy got arrested. I think he might even be in jail.
In jail, yeah.
Yes, because he's a very influential man. He had the capacity to actually lock him
in. The predator now.
My godfather now.
No, the godfather.
Yes, okay. Yes. He had the capacity to do it. And I think he did it. In some way, it's unfair because, you find that this girl had become sexually aware, kitambo kidogo. So, but, for the fact that the consequences falls most on the girl child, it's becoming burdensome. It became burdensome, and most parents don't want to have to just accept that they're going to have to deal with this.
Yeah. So, and you believe that the consequence will burden the girl child because maybe in this scenario they are the most vulnerable.
They're the most vulnerable. So as much as it is some good news for the boy child, and we're always looking at it is a very it is good news for the boy child. At least they're gonna have protection for once. It is game changing, but there's the other side of the story. I'm a woman, so I'm already seeing the gap, and I'm already worried about
I think
about it.
That is the perception that the society is now cooking around. That now this judgment or this ruling, now the girl child is left more vulnerable than before. But there are some reasons that during the Chichembe's judgment he spoke about that I will wish Advocate Teresa, Nani Faiza, I'm sorry, Advocate Teresa,
I'll sue you.
Sue me for that. I will have a Dika to represent as my defendant lawyer. So, Wakili, let's take a look at how Jasmine is now putting it. That now the society, now the girl child environment is now becoming more worse than before, because now this judgment is going to favor the boy child. Though in my perspective, I'm going to put it later, I think it is equal to this. But what came to your mind as an advocate who has gone all through this process until now, that when this type of judgment are coming out, which is absolutely, when you read this judgment from Dr. Mwamuye, when you read it keenly, it has some good vibes. But when now you get the content of the verdict or of the judgment, unasema that's how you understand. So what came to your mind before getting the context of the judgment?
I totally understand my colleague from the media fraternity.
Yes.
For us wakilis, before we do anything, we have to go through the judgment.
Yes.
Before we either advise or do anything. So we have to read through.
Yeah.
But the first thing after the judgment came out, I could familiarize myself with the dynamics. Yes, there's that societal worry of what might happen after. But then personally, I feel it is a much needed discussion that we were supposed to have.
Yes.
We can't run away that these relationships are happening. And it's more of experimental. So we can't run away from the fact that it's happening. Nihile sasa we need mikakati za how to deal with all this. And personally, I felt like so many young men, to be precise, in prison because of such kind of relationships. But then if you go back and read Justice Chitembwe's judgment,
yes.
He relied on that specific section ya kusema that if a minor acts in a manner likely to suggest that they're an adult, then the accused person was perceived that this person is an adult. But then the exception, that can be used as a defense under the Sexual Offences Act. But then kuna exemptions to it.
Yes.
This accused has to prove that ali make effort kujua this is not a minor.
Yes.
But then tena it doesn't apply to close family relations. You definitely find within a family setup, you know if this person is a minor or not.
Yes.
So it has triggered a heated debate, if
Okay.
I'm so to say.
Yes.
But personally, I feel it's high time we have this discussion and we put in measures. For example, if we come up with those policies, zenye zita guide prosecution of such cases, and it has to be clear.
Okay.
If it's close in age, like what age are we talking about?
Yeah.
Then my worry is, how do we deal now with the grooming aspect? If maybe I've groomed you into a
Yes.
relationship, how are we going to deal with that? Are we going to deal with it as a consensual relationship?
Okay.
So this is a much needed discussion, and I hope mechanisms will be put in place, and also put in place mechanisms that these victims will be able to access sexual reproductive health rights. The access to contraceptives. You know, right now it's like it's more of a mtu ana feel ni kama ni hatia. You can't walk in a hospital na utafute contraceptives without a parent. Na kuna, like, people sort of have criminalized it. Kumanisha those teens cannot even access those contraceptives tuseme.
Yes.
Most of them we understand they have undergone, maybe some of them have decided to go through unsafe abortions.
Yes.
So this is a much needed discussion, and now we need to we can't run away from it. Iko na sisi. Sasa tutafanya nini?
And that is a very good point of view, because now, even in both judgment of Chitembe and Mwamuye, there's one common denominator, that how will you know that the lady was interested? And then in the judgment of Justice Mwamuye, he's saying that the best interest of the child in this case, when you look at the 16-year-old girl, she was even expecting, if I'm not wrong. And now look at the consequences when the man is in jail. Who is going to help this lady out? But again, my question is, what is the degree of measuring whether it was non-coerced or it was coerced? And also, we are talking about the perspective of grooming. So as an advocate, can you please create us a very good picture of those two areas? Yes.
And I think that is one of the worries zenye zitakuwa, because when you read the orders that were given by court, the prosecution have to come up with guidelines. Already they have the prosecutor guidelines and the policy. Wanafaa sasa enhance to capture now this. And that's why nimesema they need to clearly define the close in age. Close in age is equal 24 or 20. It has to be
13.
What are we talking about, like the age gap?
The age gap.
And then how are we going to measure this in terms of coercion, fraud? Unaona? That's why nimesema, how do we deal now with the aspect of grooming? Because for you to groom somebody, it starts like a friendship, like normal. Before somebody now turns out to be a victim, they're already groomed to be in that scenario. So we need, I can't clearly say that this is what I define by all this, but then we need clear guidelines on the definitions of all these things. And how we are going to measure in hii story na fraud in labda alidanganywa, but then lazima kutakuwa na legal gaps. Kulazimishwa, it's always clear. That's why wakati that offense happens, they always advise, without doing anything, go to the police station, so that they can record the way the entire incident happened, from appearance to now the incident. So unapata, that's why they ask, they check kama labda kuna marks za makucha, because even the convictions inaenda na ile injuries tuseme mtu akona, for the way that person presented themselves. So kama maybe I want to use this, maybe the panty was torn, it's clear that this person was forced. That's a clear definition that this person alilazimishwa. Yeah.
There's something that is spoke about, and again also, Jasmine, I might like to get your idea on this, or your thoughts, that you'll see so many men are in jail because of similar cases. And at some point, as a journalist, you will find out that the parents, more so mothers, or perhaps let's just generalize, also fathers, that sometimes use their daughters to either get money for such cases or make someone be in jail because they had difference with the entire family. For instance, you will see that a child is being used, anatumwa kwa nyumba ya jirani, nduru inapigwa, polisi wanakuja, anashikwa, anapelekwa, anakuwa charged. But this case, it did not happen. It was choreographed. And such cases are so many in jail. Now, how does such judgment, or now the topic of the day, that this thing must be consensual, yani, you understand now the aspect of this thing. How can this one now going to cure the society from this that had been happening? Because so many men are in jail because of this. And again, these men who are in jail, some, the lady gave consent, despite the Sexual Offense Act does not guarantee you children under 18 to give consent in this matter. So how does it going to change now the society and also give a boy child a little bit a green light?
Okay.
Yes.
So first of all, I'm just going to say this.
Yes.
I'll always be on the girl's side.
The mother of a daughter.
I will always be. I will always
Yes.
be on the girl's side.
Yes,
I have
yes.
this little bit of bias for gender,
Yeah.
and it is okay to just be,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, open about
Just
it.
give out
Yeah,
your
yeah.
thoughts. No
Yes,
problem.
I think until proven otherwise,
Yes.
if you're accused, you're accused. And we have to look at it very keenly and very closely until we have enough proof that you really are not doing whatever you're being accused to be doing. And especially when it comes to children, you know.
Yeah.
Because it is very easy, just like Wakili say, it is very easy to groom a child and make a child think this is what is supposed to be done. This is what people do, you know. And this also happens within family. And this happens within close people around the child, you know, sometimes even visitors, sometimes even neighbors. You wouldn't know if someone is telling your child, don't tell your mommy, this is how people talk to, you know, and the child, maybe they have differences at home with the parents and, you know, things like this. So again, I'm going to say yes, there are a lot of people in jail who've maybe been wrongfully accused of doing this, but then there are also a lot of people who are still free who've actually done this. And because they were well able to actually groom the victims to believe that and to even be afraid of talking about it to other people. There are people who are nursing, you know, injuries out here due to, you know, GBV issues.
Okay.
So your question was, how do I feel about this, considering the fact that there are a lot of people who are in jail serving for, you know, similar kind of cases? It's a mixed feeling, really. And I feel like as a country, we've made milestones toward trying to protect adolescents from sexual exploitation. We've really done a lot of work as a country, especially ukiangalia digitally. Right now, you know, even the fact that men try to be the champions against, you know, sexual exploitation of school children by, you know, letting other men know that you're going to go for 35 years. And a lot of them have been doing the footwork, you know, digitally and letting people know that there's a jail term to be served. If you look at these people and look at their round figures, don't look at them this way. They look like they're women, but they're children. Remember, they're children, and it's danger. You know, it's been doing a really good job mentally for people to want to know how old are you really.
Yes.
But now, you know, this again kind of opens a bit of a doorway. And, you know, people are going to start thinking, if she says yes, then, you know, people are just trying to look at how they can, you know, make the best of this. And I'm afraid that men have this predatory trait already naturally. You know, unfortunately, men are predators by a lot. You know, when they're interested in a woman. Is it true? Is it true or false? I feel like they are.
Me, I don't know.
Even as a mature woman right now, you still feel like men are very they're
no,
predators
me, I don't know.
to
Me,
some
I don't know.
to a big extent, they are predators.
Yes.
You know, when they want to go after someone, they just, you know, find ways of crawling around it until they, until they get you.
But again, now in this scenario, as a journalist,
Yes.
you see, as much as we are protecting rights,
Yes.
more so the sexual rights and what have you, there was an aspect, or there was a calling of introducing the sexual education into schools. But this did not go well with other communities. And again, they were citing the religion issues, the cultural aspects, and they were then saying that when you're introducing a child below 18 years to sexual education, you are just aspiring or giving this child a direction that this is the right thing to do. So such judgment, when they come out and they're telling you in Judge Chitembwe case that this lady was 13-year-old behaved like an adult. Now, where does this one now leave the society? Because majority did not applaud the fact that this education must also be introduced, and it is also important to be introduced in schools. As a journalist, yes,
As a journalist, I'm going to think about it. A 13-year-old is still a child, yes. Whether they're behaving this way or that way, this has something to do with the environment that they're being raised at. It does not take from the fact that they're still a child, you know. But the situation that we are in, it means we need to create more awareness. And this starts from the schools. If we're going to review the syllabuses and maybe introduce some of these topics in a way that is child-friendly, if you're going, just like we said when we started the conversation, there's going to be a need for a lot of awareness creation right now.
yeah,
This ruling is creating a whole room for conversation, you know, and we need to create more rooms. How do we know? Because there's a lot of work that comes with this.
yeah.
It's not meeting. I don't feel like it's even meeting us halfway. I feel like it's like scrapping, and now we have to do the whole work again.
I think it has triggered some very good discussions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my aspect is just law. Forget about what the society or the common man will understand. Okay, when I'm getting back to you, I will wish to know when the judge is saying that now let us not use section 8, 9, 11, and 40 to criminalize this thing, knowing in mind that the law also prohibit an 18-year, below 18-year-old consent. Tell that child that you don't have capacity to say yes. But this law again is saying if she behaves like she's an adult, or if she's willing, there is no hakuwa coerced, you understand? So where does this now law live as a country? Which one should we follow? And how should we go about it? Because still he remains or she remains a child. Yes.
So basically, you get states are mandated under international law.
Yes.
To protect children. In fact, even sexual and gender-based violence is one of the crimes that are deemed to be the worst. But when you read the judgment, Kinley,
Yeah.
he said no blanket criminalization.
Yes.
Look at the facts, look at the circumstances, and then now make a decision. The ODPP, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, have a decision to charge. And they also have a mandate to even stop investigation or prosecution of sexual offenses if they deem that these people are minors. And when you read Kinley, I think the second petitioner and the third petitioner were in a relationship or something of the sort.
Yes.
And the same was they were discharged.
Yeah.
Under Section 87A. So all the DPP have a lot of work to do in terms of making that decision to charge. And based on their powers under the Sexual Offences Act to stop any prosecution or investigation, then they can look at the ingredients of the offense and also the circumstances.
Okay.
The blanket criminalization that Justice Mwamuye stated was like telling people, look at the circumstances and the facts before you make that decision. If it's coercive, if it's fraudulent, if it's on deceit, then proceed with the criminal case. But if there's clear indication that these people are in a Romeo and Juliet relationship, then kindly consider that this person needs more of guidance and counseling other than criminalization.
Yes.
So basically, even the Children's Act says that children under the age of 18 cannot consent.
Mm-hmm.
But then we are privy to the fact that we are in a world where the current watoto wa sahi, they are exposed to so much kuliko vile we ulikuwa ukiwa mtoto. You get it?
Yes.
So adolescent stage looks like more of an experimental. They are dealing with their hormones and everything that is happening within their body.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's trying to tell us is don't criminalize these people. Guide them through the right path. But yes, it will open
the door.
It will open so many things, because definitely there's one or two persons who will maybe misinterpret the judgment and they'll interpret it their own way and deal with it their own way. But personally, I feel yes, as Shah said, it is a much needed discussion and we need to do more awareness.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, what I like about the judgment, Mumuya stated clearly that it is between the teenagers. Not adult.
Not adults.
Sasa kama wewe ni ngulu wa miaka 50 na umekuta mtu wa miaka 17, shimo la teo inakuhusu.
Definitely.
Yeah,
because
so,
there's also the fear for just like I was saying, predators.
Yes.
People who look at this as something that they can now exploit. People who already had their mind on doing things like this, So, I mean, there's going to be also the police need to, to revise their arrest protocols, how they're going to handle this. And I feel like there's an urgency with this right now because of where we are. There is an urgency with this. So let me tell you, David, what happened when this ruling was made, I tried to reach out to a couple of people in the right spaces to get, to get their views on how they generally feel about this, this verdict. And most of them were not willing to talk about it. But they reached out to like a lot of people who are like in the spaces, who like have a command like in the spaces. And they generally did not feel comfortable even talking about it at that time. And, it made me feel like, it has definitely created that kind of, big... The gap had widened. People had done like a lot of footwork around this. But then again, there's those who are fighting for rights of, adolescents who feel like this is a major win.
Yes.
Protecting adolescents, because there was the bias, the feeling like there was a bias about how prosecution is done, leaning towards, the girls' side and maybe against the boys' side, which is true. But the gap is real. The gap is real. Yes. And I'm wondering why. I'm also wondering why people did not still, even at this time, don't feel very free talking about this new rule. Why don't people feel okay? People in the right spaces don't really want to talk about this as much as they're supposed to talk about it, because I feel like by now people are supposed to already be talking about it.
The problem is, even before, when the judgment came out, we did not get the context of the judgment. And I know how the news reports things. A brief of 3 minutes, 1 minute, 2. So people did not get time to understand what actually, and nobody can read all that judgment and understand the context of it. So you feel, even at my space first, I was like blaming Naya. Because when you read that verdict, that judgment, you will find out that these people actually did the right thing at the moment. Now the problem becomes the interpretation, and that is why we're killing now. You are here, the interpretation. Because when Naya came in and now rescued the boy child, the 17-year-old boy, giving him the bond to be released, and upon waiting for the termination, I thought like, why? I didn't know the nitty-gritties of the case. But again, when we are now looking at the case, these people needed one another, from the girl child to the boy child. Without one pillar, the other pillar could also be grounded. So I think that is something that everybody must first start to understand. And again, in that judgment, he's saying, forget about the adult aspect. This is among the peers, the adolescents people. Yeah. You understand? So hii si Daudi kwenda kwa shule ya Mama Ngina kama shule ya Nyabukale girls and pick the most beautiful one. No. In that one, 25 years is waiting for you.
But do you know how many adolescent boys have actually been staying away from school children because of, you know how tight the laws were.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a
but
lot of them who are really just restraining themselves from being involved in this kind of a thing. But now, you know, it's like,
don't take it that way.
it's not me that should not take it that way. But when you look at it, the reality of it is,
the
yes.
reality of it.
Yes, and
Parents
then-
have been warning their boys, leave this child alone,
Yeah.
leave this girl alone because of the consequences around it.
Yes.
But
yes,
now,
yes,
once
yes,
they
yes.
know the consequences are not gonna be as bad,
Mhm.
it's like now.
But again, Wakili, through what she's trying to submit, take us back to Article 53(2), the best interest of the child. Can this be also best interest of this boy child and this girl child? Because now you've also spoke about the adolescent stage, how the body react, the hormones, blah blah blah. And now the boy child also needs to relax his muscles, and the girl child also. See, there's a lot of aspect that we can't lie. And you've said it very clearly. When we were growing up, the people who were born in early 90s like us,
Yes.
I think this is, I'm sorry to say, but we knew this after we were 20s. That is now we became active.
Yes.
But before 20, tulikuwa tunasikia tu story. But I got a chance to read a letter when my cousin wrote to a certain girlfriend at primary school. I was asking him, why do you do this? And he was trying to explain to me. But the bottom line was, wait for your time, because by that time he was done with the school. You understand? So we could wait. Our body could wait. But now again, do we blame the GMO? It is a joke. There are so many aspects, and think
Yes,
also the digital
true.
era has also brought a lot of things to the children. So Wakili, how come? Can you now break it down for us under this judgment that the best interest of the child, under what aspect in this case now, in this scenario now? Yes.
They say the law says the best interest of the child is paramount.
It's paramount, yeah.
But the argument is criminalizing this one party on the basis of that consensual relationship is also violating some other rights. That is their right to privacy, their right to health, because if I need to access sexual and reproductive health rights, the contraceptives, or maybe if I need proper medical care during my during the term of the pregnancy, then you're violating my right to health. I'll have to do some things in hiding. And I've stated that some of them even decided to maybe conduct unsafe abortions. Then there's also the post-abortion care, maybe. If these people decided to do it unsafely and they don't get that proper medical care, then also their sexual reproductive health right is not
infringed.
guaranteed, is infringed.
Yes.
So, yes, international law, local laws, the Children's Act, the Constitution, the best interest of the child is paramount. But the argument that Justice Mamuya said is, even as you consider the best interest of the child, criminalizing that child also violates some other rights.
Yes.
Yes. So you might want to have that person go to jail.
Yes.
You remember the third petitioner in the case? Alisema yeye alikalishwa akainterrogatiwa to fix somebody, to fix the second, to be a prosecution witness for the second, for the government on like awe witness wa serikali kwa kesi ya the second petitioner.
Yes.
And you find that this lady apparently was expectant.
Yes.
She needs to access medical care.
Yes.
If this happened prior, then she might not maybe have been expectant if she could access these services. So the right to health is also key.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a thin line, I can say, balancing this, but then there has to be a way to deal with such incidences, so that once you deal with one right, you don't violate another.
Okay.
This person pia akienda prison, mostly wanasema, if that person under the Sexual Offences Act, if this person is below 18 years, then the court should consider sentencing them, convicting them, guided by the Boston Institutions Act. Most of them are and there are only 3 Boston institutions in Kenya. There's the Shimolatewa Boston, the Shikusa, and I think the other one is in Nairobi. But how many? Most of them they are sentenced to 3 years in the Boston institutions. But then, what does it? How does it affect them? One, you have that criminal liability on your head. The second one, you are traumatized. You live with resentment that this person alinifunga, niko jela. Yes, they do go to school, but before now the transition, your right to education imekuwa affected. So these rights are tied together, and you have to balance it. And that's why I'll say it's a thin line.
It's a thin line. Allow me also to think from a layman perspective, that at the same time, leave alone the boy child being in jail for those 3 years or the maximum years, that maybe the judgment will see better for the boy child. But where do you leave this girl child who is now left expecting, left vulnerable more, because maybe the boy child, in one way or the other, was providing. So how does law protect now this lady when now the man is serving his jail term? Do we have a mechanism before this judgment came out?
So far we don't. What the law has tried to do,
Yes.
ni wakati ile kesi ikiendelea, they have tried to incorporate like the victim to be part of the case. If you're privy to criminal cases, the complainant hides kwa serikali. It's the republic versus the accused. So unapata the complainant is always hakuwa anaonekana pale. But right now sasa what is happening ni wanakuwa involved ile victim impact assessment. Unapata before they make a decision relating to the case, tuseme for example the accused has to be released on bond, then they'll have to go talk to the families. There's that ka voice hidden yenye anasema. But at the end of it all, a criminal case ends up with an acquittal or a conviction.
Or a conviction, yes.
So sometimes you ask whose justice. That's what I always ask myself on a personal capacity. Because at the end of kesi imeshaisha, this person has gone to jail.
Yes.
I remain there with my pregnancy. It's the burden of me and my parents. What happens? Unless now, maybe you talk to the other family to take care of their child. But if not, then it's the burden of the family. So unless we also put mechanisms to take care of these incidences, like after amepata ujauzito and maybe the guy has been convicted, then what next? But right now, we don't have.
So allow me to ask you again as an advocate. There are so many cases. There's one you told me off mic, and I also have one. When I was in the newsroom, that you will see sometimes the lady saying, like there was also another case, but this is now the vice versa, that a lady was jailed just because of having sex with a minor who was a boy. And in her defense, she was saying the boy behaved in a manner that he looks adult. Because hata ni kama boy alikuwa mtu anaendesha bodaboda, something like that in Kisumu. I don't remember very well the case. So wakati mtu anajitetea anasema Daudi ni wangu, hata mkimfunga nitamsubiri mpaka aje. Can we now categorize this one as now, can this one now marries the consensual one? Because it looks like it is non-coerced now. Can it be a good defense for the predator, venye nawaita Jasmine? You are going to
when
apologize.
we're talking about predators,
Yes.
we're basically looking at maybe I'm actually looking at people who are not adolescents in this way,
Yes.
and also maybe the grooming ones where it's a 19-year-old looking at a 13-year-old. That's also
That gap is big.
but in this case, when you're looking at also the petitioners, they were all around 17 years, right?
Yeah,
16,
17 and 16, yeah.
17. And if the girl had even moved in with the boy. So, that's a very different situation. It's
Yes.
like, that was like consensual, very consensual, It's like this boy had even taken responsibility, But maybe in the other cases might not be of the same level.
Yeah,
A lot of these issues of adolescent pregnancies, teenage pregnancies, they normally just end up living with their parents. It's not like it's not like a lot of 17-year-old boys who got a girl pregnant that's going to actually marry them and now start living with them. Normally, the burden normally just remains with the parents.
Yeah.
Single young mothers who have to take care of these kids, single-handedly. drop out of school completely unless there is, a miracle of where Jesus decides, you still go to school.
Yeah,
Then you can go. But in most cases, you're just done.
Yeah. But I'm asking this question considering also the judgment that Mwamuye put that this one only affect the adolescents, not the adult. Huh?
Yeah.
And now I'm giving an example of an adult, now the vice versa.
Yeah.
Yes, now the lady now, she's 20, for example, and then the boy is maybe 17 or 16. But ye pia ashaanza kukua. Adolescent stage yake, the body movement ashaanza kukua. Then now he get this small girl who looks 16 but she's 20. And then now in defense msichana aseme mimi sikujua huyu mtu ni mtoto. Okay. And again, this thing nobody was coerced to. Everybody agreed. The boy gave consent. Despite the law is now telling us that they can't. But again, as we argue on the adolescent gap, can we now give a space for in such a case, or there's lacuna in that?
The sexual offense is clear. The Sexual Offences Act is clear that if you allege that this person ulikuwa unamdeem as an adult, then prove that that person was an adult. What measures did you take to prove that that person is not a child? So even for this 20-year-old and 16 or 17, she can use it as a defense under the Sexual Offences Act. But then there's that caveat that you have to prove the measures yenye ulichukua to make sure that huyu si mtoto. And nimeeka exemption kuna hiyo, but then a family member cannot use that exemption ati alikuwa naona ni mtu mkubwa. It doesn't apply to a family, any person with blood relation. I can relate to that because I remember way back in I think either 2016 when I was still in practice.
Yes.
I remember there was a girl who disowned a birth certificate because, to verify your age is either a birth certificate or the court orders the age assessment hiyo kuhesabu meno. And the court had ordered for a DNA for the first issue. The first issue in law we call watoto issues. So had ordered the DNA test a DNA for the first issue.
Yes.
But now subsequent court dates, the complainant is here with the first issue. And the accused person is carrying the second issue. And this lady ilibidi ainue mkono akaambia court that mamangu aliforge birth certificate. They already have now 2 kids, of which the first kid is subject to DNA analysis, bado results hata hazijatoka.
So, wow.
So, but the ODPP have those prosecutor policy that they can stop stop investigations and also prosecution of sexual offenses if they deem these people are minors. Kama vile wamefanya now in this case here, the second petition and the third petitioner. And
I want the juice of that story. So did the lady disown her own birth certificate because it was forged? Was the forgery adding up age gap or reducing the age gap?
No, the forgery was now putting her at above 18 because alikuwa anasema mamake aliforge ndio akuwe mdogo, akuwe under 18. But then yeye ukiangalia clearly these people wame move on hadi wako na mtoto wa pili.
So she was above 18.
We can't state because she had to go through your age assessment.
What is the interest of the mother? What was the interest of the mother?
I can't say the interest of the mother, but most of the time unapata maybe watu wamekosana or something. But then the DPP have that discretion. Right now they have that decision to charge. Okay. And I am also familiar. There's another case also. The lady was heavily pregnant, and you could clearly see that this was consensual. They were in a relationship. Ile nye msichana amekuwa akitoka kwake akienda kwa huyo mwanaume. And I remember that case, this lady was telling that guy, nitakungoja tu. And I was imagining this guy might go in for maybe 15 years, for example. That was way back in 2016 or 14 when I was still either a pupil. So, okay, imagine this person might go in for all that year, alafu unaniambia utaningoja. you could tell that these people were in a kind of a consensual relationship, but the fact that a minor cannot consent, it creates that thin line. Yeah, but it happens that you can tell hao watu wakipeana ushahidi, una realize that hao watu walikuwa na uhusiano fulani, then sasa maybe somebody decided to take
action.
But then medical reports huwa and the DPP wako na hiyo discretion. The court is always the court ndio inakuaga kwa weighing nini, kwa sababu yeye sasa ndiye ajui ukweli ni gani, so lazima decide.
Yes,
but now hatuwezi dispute the fact that 1 or 2 cases zinaweza kuwa zinaenda in a way that so you can tell consensual and forced fraud. But now my question ni hiyo sasa, now that tuko exposed kwa digital devices and there is now technology facilitated GBV, what if the kid is just groomed pole pole and then now they enter into a relationship and then you get it. But unajua sasa now tena we have a gap because we don't have a clearly laws zenye zina touch online violence, sexual violence.
Yes, and again, I would wish to understand from your perspective. There's one of the argument that when this law were being made, the framers did not consider the adolescence age gap, because you will see like Sexual Offense Act. It was first amended, enacted in 2006.
Yeah.
So by 2006, majority of us were in lower primary or upper primary, and again, we still consider the fact that our body was not maturing early enough. It normally takes time, which is also against today, that now the maturity aspect of this is now becoming at early age. So can you also agree with the fact that during the time the framers of the Constitution or this act, they didn't factor in the new factors in adolescence age? And again, do you think that the judgment or the judges could have at least give this thing to the parliament so that we could create or an act or delete some clauses in this act which is there and create a good clauses that is going to protect this boy child? Because this judgment is based on what Mwamuye feels the law needs.
Yeah.
And again, also put Judge Chitembwe in a cogmatic situation that he thinks this is the right thing. But now again, if you look at the context of the law, it is not. So do you think it is high time now we recheck our statutes?
Yeah, and that's why the amendments. Ukiangalia sheria zetu constantly zinakuwa amended. Repealed, amended, a certain, even if you go through the gazette notices, uta realize kuna repeals za a number of laws. So ukiangalia your judgment, there have been orders zimemekiwa to the ODPP,
and
the National Police Service,
yes,
and also Parliament. Like they have to make these amendments and changes to their policy documents, to their guidelines. So all this, unajua, at the moment we don't live in in an environment, like we are in an ever-changing environment. Now, the moment things change, you have to move with speed and adopt what protects the interest of the people. So that's why hizo orders zimeenda to the specific duty bearers to come up with guidelines. Na catch up na changes zenye zinafanyika duniani na pia Kenya, hizo amendments na policies lazima ziwe.
Okay.
Lazima.
Before I take your parting shot, I just want to see how police officers will now come and arrest. Wewe kijana kuja hapa kwanza, huyu alikubali ama hakukubali, wewe ulikuja hapo ulikuwa unataka ama hutaki. I just want to see that process of arresting. Ile kuja hapo unasema mbele. So Jasmine, as a journalist, we've been reporting a lot of cases of the high rate of pregnancy within the region, mostly in the coastal region, the high rates of the the GBV, absolutely. Leave alone the GBV, the high rates of these 3 things that we've talked about, the infection of the HIV, what did you call them?
There's also SRHR.
Yes. Now, where do these judgment now leave us? Are we going to protect our children? Are we going to create more burden? Are we going to add more pregnancy in the society? And what can the society do, or even the stakeholders do, to curb all measures, or to put all measures to ensure that our children's rights are still protected? As we wind up,
I'm going to speak as a journalist.
Yes.
As a gender reporter.
You want to speak as a mother of a daughter?
Yes, I am a mother of a daughter also. But, yes, I am a mother. So, of course, my concerns are way up there.
Yes.
But also, I am a journalist.
Yes.
And so, for the best good of the society,
Yes.
There is now need for the media to be more involved in creating awareness. And, every step of the way of, the reviews and what the ODPP is going to be doing around this, what the police is going to do, the protocols, the way things are going to change. And there is need for the media to be involved in every step of the way. There is need for media to be involved on the groundworks in what is doing, what is being done at the community level, at the school levels. There is need for a lot of awareness. There is need for big improvement in access for sexual reproductive services for adolescents. There's already gaps right now.
Yes.
That we are experiencing without this new window that just opened. And now the government needs to do more. And those in the health rights spaces need to do more so that adolescents can be able to access these services. If they're going to make these services more, friendly and easy for them to access, the better, so that they don't struggle and even shy away from maybe these spaces where they can access them. There is... I'm going to emphasize the need for more awareness. We need to involve the media every step of the way. And we need to, so that we can amplify the concerns of the community, so that we can talk about how this change is actually affecting things, so that we can give people more information, accurate information on what this new act really is and what it really means, so that we can curb the cases, so that at least we can create a neutral ground for, for everyone, for the boy child and also for the girl child, for the parents and the community in general.
I think that is absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it brings me back to 2017, when one of my cousins, she was in Form 1, and she was taken to take the contraceptive, those things, I don't know whether it was put here. I'm not aware of where it was put. So the family was saying that the mother was exposing her daughter to the sex environment. The mother was trying to tell her daughter, now you can have it freely. But again, when I listened to Akili, and again, what is now happening, the lady was saved from the unwanted pregnancy or many other things. And again, I think in that also they could be added the way they can protect themselves from the infections and the viruses, and these are other any these things that can interfere with their, like, tell them that HIV is still there, we have STIs. If it is a must, you have to do it. Please protect yourself, and this is how you can do it. I think the comprehensive sexual education should be introduced, according to me, so that these people, as much as early they are or as young they are, they get privy to these things before it is late. But because when we waited until it became late, we are going to cure something that we could protect or prevent before. Wakili, what is your parting shot? And the one common denominator in this panel today, that everybody is a parent of a daughter.
So our concerns are real.
The concerns are valid.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Wakili.
Yeah. So my parting shot would be awareness, as Jasmine has stated.
Yes.
Lazima kuwe na awareness, because once you come from a point of knowledge, you understand what you're going to get into.
Yeah.
Lazima wajue that the risks zinakuja na this exposure. HIV is there. STIs ziko hapo. So if we shy away from telling them these things, definitely hawatakuwa wanakuja from a point of knowledge that wanajua chenye watakuwa wanajiingiza but they don't understand the risks zenye ziko pale. Unapata the current generation they're exposed kwa vitu mingi sana.
Yes.
And me, I always my daughter is 10 years and there are conversations that I have with her that I saw the need to start it at this age. Like unahitaji kujua this and this. For example, like this one, the boy should not touch you here. And unaona, lazima you tell them these things because now they are getting they're maturing very fast. Na ukipretend hapo hivyo like you are the analog parent, utawachwa hapo. Let me tell you, utawachwa hapo. And you know they access this hata squeeze they know even how to clear histories. So utakuwa tu hapo na analog wako and then kumbe this kid is getting exposed to so many things. The other thing ni we need to strengthen service linkages. Vile amesema, don't criminalize the process to access sexual reproductive health rights. Usicriminalize such that mtu ana feel shy kwenda pale hivyo. Yes, waeke wa access hizo, but then tell them why there's need for them to safely access hizo services. The other thing ni hizo orders zimepeanwa. There are actions that are supposed to be done.
Yes.
Sexual offenses zinafanyika like every day. Kumaanisha we don't even have time to think.
Yes,
we don't even have time. Hata I'm very sure anywhere in Kenya right now kuna watu lazima wameshikwa. So we need to act immediately. Now when you ana nini lazima we get them trained on how to handle such cases. Lastly, kukuwe na clear operational guidelines. Isikwe kila mtu anainterpret vile anataka.
Yes.
Jasmine naseme mimi close in age yangu labda ni 4 years ama 5 years. Mimi kwangu nasema ni 3 years ama 2 years. There has to be clear guidelines on how we are going to interpret this judgment. Zile policies zote zikuwe clear that we are defining this to mean this, such that kila mtu aweze kuinterpret it as it is, not as I think. So all in all, it's high time I'm happy this conversation imeanza because we can't run away from the truth. And I really hope that it will be a positive move in terms of safeguarding the teenagers in the society. Yes.
Okay. I wanted to finish with one of your writings, but I don't have time.
Which writings? Which writings?
I'll do that one of your writing later on the other episode. But I think this of your writing is the one made me have these discussions. You started by saying, I love how the recent High Court judgment, that case umeweka hapo, was the Attorney General has sparked necessary conversations on adolescent rights and justice.
Yes.
So this conversation is not going to stop at this juncture. We must move on and also explain to Kenyans that the judgment did not give leeway for the predators. Jasmine is very, very worried about the predators. I think this judgment is inconclusive of the adolescence age gap. Wale watoto ambao pengine, I don't know how to call adolescence in Kiswahili. Maybe my producer Karo will help me understand it, but wale watoto ambao wako katika ile adolescence age.
Age ya kubalehe.
Age ya kubalehe, ndio. They thought Jaluo cannot know Kiswahili. So this judgment does not, in fact, the adult, people like us have been excluded in this judgment. So we kama we ni mwanaume ambaye ni mkubwa na umependa mtoto mdogo, bado shimo la tewa ni ile. Like Amiti bado ni ile na Kodiaga Kisumu bado ni ile. So this is basically for the young one. And the police officers and the director of criminal prosecution, they have also been given some direction. So I think my interest is just to know how police officers will now take action when they are arresting these children. More so the young man who has been amekuwa kiteswa sana. My name is David Atieno and this is The Legal Mind.